Hey everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my photo shopping live stream where we go online together and look for deals. And as always, I try to cherry pick a few ahead of time. And if you have any questions or shopping for anything, I'll happy to give you my opinion, and we can look online together and see what a good deal is, if it's a decent product and worth your money basically. And full disclosure, I'm an affiliate for most of the places we'll be visiting today, but sometimes not. Sometimes they're on sites that I'm not an affiliate for. But either way, the goal here is to help you find a good deal on accessories that you might be shopping for, and save as much money as we can, because this can be a very expensive hobby. And I try to focus on the core essential items for photographers. Of course, bags and backpacks, memory cards, and filters, tripods, things of that nature. Things that every photographer needs when they're getting started. And if you're looking for, camera bodies and lenses, I can talk about those as well and give you some recommendations. And there are a few of those on sale at a pretty good deal. So I'll share some of those as well. And it's good to see everyone this morning. I see P. Palumbo's here, and Jeff, good to see you. John Follows, Eric, the great Vanzini, Ethan, good to see you. It's been a while, Ethan. I haven't seen you lately. And Marco, always good to see you, Marco. Marco's always been a great supporter of the channel and is very knowledgeable on PC and laptops and cell phones, all of that consumer electronics stuff that he knows so well. He does that for a living, and he has his own channel, Hot Hardware, and also his website under the same name, hothardware.com. So I encourage you to check that out if you're searching for consumer electronics in that end. I don't cover too much of that here, but I can give you some general recommendations as well, for laptops and computer gear and things like that, because I used to be in the computer industry years ago. But Marco is definitely up on the latest and can really fine tune, your needs, right, to give you the best bang for the buck. Okay, so that said, I talked a little bit about memory cards last week, and I'm going to be focusing on that again this week because, my gut feeling is that we're not going to see prices stabilize, for a year, right? We're talking next year, 2027, and they may not even start to come down in price, if ever, after that. So because of this huge demand in AI and the shift of the companies that manufacture memory cards, selling to AI companies. So storage in general, not just SD cards, but hard drives, SSDs, all those things um, are just skyrocketing in price. So I wish I bought a little bit more earlier this year. But I did buy some more this morning, and I'll share that deal with you because what I'm finding is once the deal on a particular memory card is gone, they're out of stock of that particular card, it's gone. And when it comes back, it comes at a much higher price. Like, back in March, we had these EMTC 256 gig V60 SD cards, which I know a few of you took advantage of at the time when I brought it up, for like $36, $37. Now they're like $120 or something, just from March, just a couple of months ago. So there's another one now that I'm pushing you guys to get. I bought a couple myself this morning because, again, I have probably more than enough SD cards to cover my needs, but they I just know I'm going to need more. I want to swap out all of my V30 cards with V60 cards, the higher spec. So that's why I bought a couple more, because I have some cameras. I still have V30 cards in them. And, and I have multiple cameras, so I'm in a little bit different situation. But they're all using V30 cards, which are fine, but the V60 is the better performing card in most situations. So we'll talk about that. So let's go ahead and get to my deal page. I have links down below to my favorite picks for today, and we'll go over those. Uh, you can just go to robtrek.com/deals, and that'll show you all of my current picks. And I try to update that on a regular basis, if not daily, when I do come across deals, because I'm always shopping for things myself, right? And I'm going to share with you a lot of things that and a lot of things I've bought, for myself. Either the exact item you see on the page or, under a different brand name. You know how those things work, right? The same thing is branded 10 different ways. Um, so let me see if I can do that. And yep, okay, very good. So we'll start out with sort of a one-off here. This, I bought a couple of these and they're awesome. And I paid more than that, more than this price for them, because when this first came out, it was retailing for 250 bucks. This came out earlier last year, and now it's 99.99, 100 bucks. And this is a great desktop, power bank or charger. It has the OLED display there, shows you how much power it's using in each port. Has more than enough power to power your laptop if you have that on your desk, and all kinds of other features that I don't use all of these other features because you have to use an app or something, but you can have like the weather displayed or use it as a clock as well. So when it sits on your desk, it can be somewhat practical as well, right? Showing you the day and date. And there's a bunch of other stuff, right? Because it is a full color OLED display. So if you want to get a little fancy with your desktop, you can do that. But I use it strictly for the charging functions. And I really like the display showing the individual power that each device is using. It helps you diagnose problems with your charging devices and optimize them in the sense that, you can charge things at the fastest rate possible. So it's very compact. I have it here on my desk. I'd show it to you, but I'm using it. And this is, like I said, in the app, you can set up an app in your phone so it'll notify you when the device is done charging if you want. So there's a lot of advanced capabilities here. This is their premium or prime charging device for the desktop, and this is a great deal. And Anker is, yeah, the #1 brand. Every Anker product I've ever bought has been 100% solid, and I've been 100% satisfied with every single Anker product I've ever bought. Okay, so there's that. And then there's 3 flashes here. Neewer is really, they just got into the flash game, a couple of years ago. And they've been cranking out flashes, 30 to 50% lower price than a Godox equivalent. And for all intents and purposes, they're just as good. And if they had started in the flash game earlier with these kind of price points, I would have probably be a big time Neewer flash guy, but I started with Godox. Godox is a solid brand, wide compatibility within its brand. And that's one of its strengths, is being able to just buy just about any Godox flash and use it with any other flash if you're doing multi-light setups. Neewer has more recently started adding Godox compatibility, meaning the flashes themselves can be triggered by other Godox flashes or Godox triggers. So if I'm going to be adding flashes to my lighting setup, most likely I'll be adding Neewer, because why pay double the price if I don't have to? So a really good example here is 100-watt flash with a touchscreen, with the coupon, $129.99. So 130 bucks. It's a lithium-ion 100-watt flash. Hard to beat, and it's got some really nice LED lights on the front for, technically it's a modeling lamp, but In practice, you use these to help you with autofocus and illuminate subjects like for macro photography. I mean, 100 watts is a lot more than you need for close-up and macro photography. But for 130 bucks to get a 100 watt, to get any lithium ion flash for 130 bucks is an amazing deal, let alone, the high power output and the touchscreen. So this is a tremendous deal. Right now, only the Nikon version is on sale. So you can use this flash on any hot shoe camera in full manual mode. But if you have a Nikon Nikon camera, you can also get TTL and high-speed sync and multi-strobic flash. Now, 9 times out of 10, I use flashes in full manual. So if I wanted to get another 100 watt flash, I would get this, right? No question. And I could use it on one of my Nikon cameras, but generally I would use this off camera because it is kind of a big flash, a little bulky. It's a full-size flash with a little bit larger round head on top, but it's a deal. That's an amazing deal for a 100 watt flash. Godox, the V480 here, this is an amazing flash. It's a really good balance between power output and size. So this will probably cover 99% of your flash needs for definitely 100% of your macro and close-up photography needs, but also for on-camera flash, fill light, and off-camera as a key light or fill light. It has more than enough power for most things, especially if you're in a studio. 100% this will do everything. If you're outdoors, it's almost enough in some lighting situations. Like if you're in the shade, this will be great as a key light through a light modifier like an umbrella or a light box. This will have enough power, but you're kind of pushing it a little bit. Your recycle times are going to be longer because you're going to be operating at full power a lot. So if you need to use a flash outdoors through a light modifier, I would recommend this flash, the newer. But if you're going to be working, close-up macro photography and you want something a little more compact, this rarely goes on sale, this flash. So, who knows by Black Friday what's going to happen. But if you're thinking about a nice compact flash, the Godox V480 is a tremendous value and really good balance, because there is a smaller flash by Godox, the TT350V, I believe it's called, or the V350. It uses actually the same battery as this flash, but it has about a third less power, and I don't think it's going to be and it doesn't have a touchscreen. It uses the older Godox interface. So, and that's only $10 less when it's on sale. It's on sale now for $139. Forget about it. Get this flash. It's only a little bit bigger than a V350, but it has, like I said, about a third more power and faster recycle times, and because you can use a lower power, and it's relatively small. It's about probably a third smaller than a full-size flash. So, and I can show you mine. I have it in my bag, which this is also on sale, this bag. This is a great bag. Since it went on sale, I've been pulling out mine and using it more often now because I just kind of forgot what a great little bag this is. But yeah, let me get my V480 out. So this is my V480. I'll put it on my OM3 with a 60 macro. Typically, this is my setup. And, it looks big because our cameras are relatively small, but this is a relatively small flash. So if I compare it to, say, this is another very popular flash, the Godox V1. Let me do apples to apples here. You can see a Godox V1 is substantially larger. It would set right about here. So this is a great flash for $149. And I don't think Neewer has anything that's quite here that has a good balance between flat, power output and size and functionality, of course, with Godox. And it has an LED light on the front to help you, give you a little light as you're composing your shots with your macro lens. And then, of course, as a regular on-camera flash, it works great. All right, so that's that. And then I'll talk about this last item here. Well, let me finish the flash section here, and then I'll go to the chat and ask some questions. This is another great deal. I think the 100-watt one is a better deal. It's only 20 bucks more. This is also only the Nikon one is on sale. I'm sorry, this is the Fuji one and the Nikon. Nikon's looks like 20 bucks more. But this is a Fujifilm version. So if you want a Fujifilm version, I would get this flash, because the Fujifilm version of this one, they don't even, oh, my mistake. This is the Fujifilm version is on sale. Okay, because I said Nikon earlier. I said Nikon earlier. The 100-watt newer is Nikon. When I see F, I think F mount. I think Nikon for some reason. I shot Nikon for a while. No, this is the Fujifilm version. So if you have a Fujifilm camera, this is an amazing. And same goes with what I was saying about you can use this Fujifilm as a manual flash on any camera that has a hot shoe. So I would get this one because it's $129. But if you're on a very tight budget and you want to get this one here, you can save 20 bucks and get this Fujifilm version. But they also have a Nikon version here for 20 bucks more. So you can get Nikon or Fuji. And again, this is at a price point for a this one does not have touchscreen though. This is so if you like a more tactile operation, this uses buttons and dials. So either way, I don't have a preference either way anymore. I used to prefer full tactile manual controls, but I don't have any preference now. I'm kind of comfortable with both now after 20 years of touchscreens. Finally, I'm used to it. But this is again 110 to 130 bucks. If you have a Canon camera, it's 197. I'd probably lean more towards a Godox at this price point. But at 110 bucks, this is kind of a no-brainer if you need an on-camera flash. So, and this is very similar to the Godox V1 in terms of power output and performance. The main difference being that this has a larger OLED display, which is really nice. And I don't think this one has Godox compatibility though. Oh, it does. It does. Okay, so this is the newer one. It does have so you can use this with Godox flashes and triggers. Now you cannot use this flash to control Godox flashes and triggers, but it can act as a receiver flash off camera. Just to get into the fine print a little bit. But okay, and then this is a light stand I really like. I've bought a couple of these for 25 bucks. It's very compact, lightweight. It's perfect for everything up to an 80-200. So if you have the V480, of course, the 8100, the 8200, this flash is strong enough to handle those flashes with an umbrella or a smaller modifier, like a light box. I wouldn't put big modifiers on this, like a 30x60 or 30x90 softbox, but you can put smaller softboxes. But definitely, lightweight umbrellas, no problem. And this is the exact setup I used to do this photography over here. I used it with a Godox 8100, and I think one of these shots has a picture of the setup. So you can see it here. I just used a simple umbrella with an 8100 to illuminate this scene, and I got these images. This was in a parking lot. Now it was twilight, so there wasn't a lot of ambient light to compete with. But yeah, it works great. So this light stand I recommend if you're going to be doing any kind of off-camera flash, and you can buy some umbrellas for 15-20 bucks, and you got a very uh, functional lighting setup for off-camera flash to do portraits or whatever, right? Any kind of off-camera flash. And then getting into the macro part, you know, this is a diffuser. This is very similar to the one I use. The one that I use is just not available right now. It's a couple dollars more, but I think it's worth it. But this one for $7.89 is functionally the same. And there's some plexiglass here. It's in my car right now because I'm going to take these out and use these. But you know, this is great. This is clear plexiglass. You can put these around flowers and things, so you can still see the background, but then you stop all the wind from blowing your flowers around, so you can do some focus stacking and bracketing if you want. So this is a great accessory to add to your flash photography if you like to do close-up work with flowers and bugs. And to that end, this is a nice snap-on macro lens. You know, on my 60mm macro, it takes me from a 1:1 ratio to about a 1.5. So I get a 1.5 magnification, so 50% more, and the quality is awesome. There's no need to spend double to get a Raynox. This one is just as good, and I love how it just snaps on and off the front of the lens very easily. So it just is highly recommended. I can highly recommend this if you like to do macro photography. So let me go over the chat section because I can see there was a couple of questions in there. We're looking for a new mattress. Oh gosh, can't help you there. I have one mattress that I got 10 years ago as a gift, and I'm still using it. It's a memory foam mattress. And yeah, Ethan, you've been busy shooting the new Mamiya 6. Nice. Nice. And yep, no problem, Marco. Always happy to give you a plug because you definitely do a great job over there at Ha Hardware. And good morning, Robert. Good to see you. And let's see. Paul says, "Hi, Rob. Hi, Rob. Received an email today from Amazon about Prime Day coming June 23rd and 26th. Oh, okay. So, Prime Day typically, okay, so let me talk about Prime Day. So I've been doing these live streams for a couple of years now, so we've had a few Prime Days in between. And what I found was that the deals are more widespread across all products, right? From household goods, you know, to camera gear, to consumer electronics, and all of the Amazon products that they sell. You know, like they have their Fire Sticks and tablets. All of those, particularly the Amazon products, are at their best deal ever during Prime Days. And so there's Prime Days, then there's Black Friday. These two, you're going to get the best deals on a lot of things across a wider spectrum of products. However, for the individual products, I found Prime Day is not always the best time to buy it. If you're looking for something specific, I can usually find a better deal that's not a Prime Day product, not on Prime Day, and save you a little bit more, or it's going to be the same price on Prime Day. So particularly in the consumer, like particularly in the camera segment here with lenses, filters, tripods, it's you know, except the higher end products. You know, if you're going to buy the higher end, you know, like Peak Design or Wander, you know, these higher end photographic accessories, Prime Day is probably the best day to get those. But you're not gonna beat the deals that a lot of times that I find today, and especially memory cards. I seriously doubt we're going to see better deals than what I'm going to show you today, even on Prime Day. Time will tell. We'll see this Prime Day. and we can compare it to this live stream on that live, because I'm gonna, obviously I'm gonna do live stream, but okay. And then what do you use to stabilize the plexiglass? So I tape them together. So I just open and close them when they're taped together, and then I can just set it down on the ground. So that's all I do. And what about a larger sling bag to hold my Mamiya 650? So maybe a good 7-liter bag. So yeah, you're gonna need at least a 6 or 7 minimum, and that's only gonna carry the camera. What's the point of that, right? You want to be able to carry the camera with some rolls of film, and if you have a separate lens for it. But yeah, it's pretty big. I think I recommended a $30 bag to you a couple of months ago. Is that not that, because that's closer to 7 liters? It's not that bag's not available anymore as far as I know. But let me know if there was what you want that's different from the bag I recommend. If that's not you, I'm pretty sure it was you though. I recommended that Terion canvas bag. And I think it was around 30 bucks at the time. That's about the best bag that I can think of right now in that size, but we can take a look at a couple others. I didn't see any particularly good deals on slightly larger bags, right? Because usually the bags that I feature here are smaller for our Micro Four Thirds cameras, but the Terion was the best deal. But I'll see what I can find for you. Oh, the Arby's. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you did buy that. The Mamiya, I got confused here. So you have 2 medium format cameras now. Let me look at the Mamiya 645 real quick, because I know what the RB67 Mamiya. Okay, so that, I assume you have the prism finder. Yeah, okay, the Mamiya 645 is about half the size, because it's a 645 versus a 6x7, right? So just for reference, this is the camera we're looking at. Is something like this. This is a cool camera, so I think this gives you a 3:2 aspect ratio. If you have the handle for it, that's going to make it even bigger, because the handle here on the side really expands, makes it really big. So do you have the handle? So you're not using the prism finder, you're just using the waist level finder, so that makes it even smaller. Okay. No grip. Oh, about the size of the Hasselblad. Okay, so all right, so this would be a good bag. Then we can use a Micro Four Thirds bag, because let's go back to here, and I'm a little torn, but something like this I think would be a good fit, because it's a nice square box inside, and that should fit your Mamiya 645 and maybe a couple of rolls of film. So this is not bad. It might be a little bit tight, but it should fit just fine. Because if we look at the dimensions, it's 13 long, 4 deep, 9 high. They don't give the interior dimensions, do they? Yeah, they don't give but based on the exterior dimensions, you can take about a ½ inch off around So let's say you're going to have at least 12 inches inside in length, at least 4 on the width. 4 inches would be, it's going to be a little tight on the width. The length and height are good. It's just a little tight on the width. Of course, the bag will expand a little. But I think this is a good fit. This should be a pretty good fit. And then let me look at this one other one here. This one I think is going to be a little tight, but let me just look. Yeah, this one's going to be too tight. And this one, that's going to be tight. So of the ones I have on my page right now, this would be the best option. It's just a little bit on the narrow side. But since the top opens up from the top, it'll be easy to get your camera in and out. And of course, a couple rolls of film will fit in there nicely. So that would be my recommendation for a deal, but let me take a look at my history here, because I did go through. That one's a little small. That one's not available. These are all a little bit small. This is the one we just, oh, this is the same size as the other one we looked at, but it's $10 cheaper. It's the same bag, but it's $10 cheaper. This one's a little narrow. That's a little narrow. This looks pretty good. Let me check the dimensions here. It's a little shorter, but it's deeper. So I think this might be a better fit. Because they actually give the inside dimensions here. So it's certainly tall enough and long enough, and it's 4.7, so that should be fine. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let me get my Hasselblad out. Yeah, my Hasselblad. My Hasselblad here, I got this giant film back on here, but my Hasselblad is less than 4 inches wide, okay, with the knob, right? And it's only about 4 inches tall. So this is basically 4x4 with a film back would be 6.5. So I think this bag would be a better fit. Although the other bag will probably fit, this one definitely will, but it's about $5 more. And it has more pockets on the outside again, so you could probably stuff like an additional film back, or certainly rolls of film will fit in there, and whatever other accessories you want to bring. So I think this will be a good fit. Okay. Oh yeah, if you got, I'm assuming that Paul is saying that he doesn't think it'll be big enough for a body with 3 lenses. Yeah, I'm assuming you're only going to bring 1 lens. And I say that because Ethan was asking for a 7-liter bag, which is just about the right size for, you know, 1 medium format film camera with 1 lens. If you're going to be carrying multiple lenses, I would recommend switching over to a backpack, like a small backpack, because it's going to be too heavy to want to carry on your shoulder everywhere. And it's going to be awkward to pull lenses in and out when you got this big bag, right? because you would need like a 10-liter size, 9 or 10-liter bag. And even then, that might be tight with 3 lenses. So I'd lean towards a backpack if you're going to be carrying multiple lenses. Okay, and Adam is here. Good to see you. All right, and Gordon, good to see you. Um, let's get back into my next topic here. There's a couple of filters on sale. Oh, Ethan mentioned he had 3. Oh, my mistake. I missed that part. All right, so thank you, Paul. So if you're going to be carrying a Mamiya 645 with 3 lenses, the bags I've showed up to this point are not going to cut it. Let me see if there is. I would say 10-liter though. Still, I would go 10 liters. It would be tight. My 6-liter bag, but it's on the large size for 6-liter. The only other bag I would recommend is, let me find this. Let me go back to Terion real quick. Terion canvas, yeah, you can't get it anymore. There's a 5-liter. These are all going to be a little tight. Because a lot of times with a medium format camera, you're going to carry the camera, 3 lenses, maybe a light meter, a couple of rolls of film, maybe an additional film back. I mean, there's a lot going on with medium format. Cable releases. Wow, this is $50 now. But what I'm looking at is this is similar to the Terion bag that you bought for like $30 before. But dimension wise, you probably want to be closer to what this is, like 14 inches. Like a 14 by 5 by, the height is not quite as critical. 14 by 5 by at least 9 or 10. But I don't see. Let's look at this one. This does not have the dividers though. That's why it's so cheap. It's not a camera bag. Let's just type in camera bag like this. Canvas camera bag. That's going to be too small. This one we just looked at. Let me pull that up again. That's too thin. I think this is going to be too small, but I'll just look at that real quick. I'm going by some of these because I've seen them before, and I already know they're going to be too small. That's why I'm kind of scrolling past some of these. Let me look at this one more time. This was, so it's long enough, tall enough. Why? Honestly, I think this will be, if you're going to go for a messenger bag, this should do it. It's a little snug, but it should do it. And then, what was the other one I brought up? This one is, yeah, this one is about the same size as the one we looked at, but this is a little taller. But this is going to be tight. I wish they would give the dimensions. This is, okay, oh, this is 14 by 7. Actually, this is a good bag. What's taking up all the room here is the insert. I think this is a viable option too. So I'll add this to, so I'll put these two on my deal page so you can look at them a little bit closer yourself. So they're on my deal page now, so you can kind of look at these two and then make a decision which one works best. Okay. So that would be, those would be my two recommendations. One's a little smaller, obviously. It'd be a little tighter fit, but then it has a lot of pockets on the outside, so you don't have to put too many things together with your camera and lenses. The other bag is bigger. You know, it has this giant insert though that takes up a lot of room in of itself, but that insert should be the insert comes out. So if you want to switch to a backpack that you may already have, that's not necessarily a camera backpack, you could do that as well. So it gives you a little more versatility with the bigger bag, but it's $10 more, right? Okay. Oh, you have the RV67 with a big metal case, 3 lenses, and 4 packs. Okay, so you're very familiar with this camera, more so than I am. Awesome. All right. Let's do... Okay, so there's a few filters I found. This was from last week. This is still on sale. 58 millimeter. It comes with a circular polarizer and a variable ND filter. This is the magnetic ring base. It's really nice. The magnetic filter system is really nice, and this is the Nano X series. So this is one of their top of the line. They do have one series of lens that's even higher than this, but the only difference is that the higher end ones, I believe, use brass rings instead of, these are just aluminum. Well, not aluminum, but some metal, but not brass. And but the glass optically is the same. This you know, and K&F, you know, I don't know why this has been on sale for so long, but they don't normally go on sale this long, but it's still on sale for 20% off. And it's a really good filter size. You know, if I didn't already have a ton of filters, I would get this for my 12 to 45 f4 Pro. This would be a perfect filter set. It has the metal lens cap, comes with the case. You know, this is a really good deal for a quality filter set. And then if you just want an ND filter, this is a solid ND 6 stops. This is really useful for doing long exposure photography, for flash photography, to stay within your sync speed. You know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then for $8, just get it and you'll figure it out. You'll see a lot of videos online using ND filters for those things, and this is an amazing deal for $8. And it's in the 58 millimeter filter thread size. Here's a couple more. The CPL and mist filter. So these are again in the higher end set of the K&F filter. These are threaded, so you have to screw these on. But if you don't want to use a magnetic set, this is a good alternative. You can get a CPL and a mist filter. The mist filter, the black mist filter, is nice for softening highlights without losing contrast. I've used this time to time for portraits, like if people have shiny skin, it helps mitigate that a little bit. And it's really nice for street photography, you know, particularly at night street photography, to get really nice soft highlights rather than more specular highlights. It just adds a little bit of, takes a little bit of edge off the lens. And then this is a very generic set, but you get the CPL and an ND filter, and you know, the UV filters I don't care about. I don't recommend those generally, especially these ultra cheap ones. You know, the higher end UV filters have a little bit better protection typically, but also optically they're going to be better. But when you're putting on a CPL or an ND filter, you know, optically you can rarely tell the difference, you know, between these cheap filters and very high-end filters, except when it comes to flaring, right? So if you're pointing directly into the sun, like in the pictures they show here, depending on the angle of the sun, you know, there's a lot of factors here, but you'll get flaring more often on these than you will high-end filters. But if you want to get started with using CPL and ND8, and you know, this is a great deal. $12, and it comes with the case. The case alone is like $5, and you're getting 3 filters on top of that. So I would definitely recommend this for anybody beginning in photography. And they have a 58mm filter thread. They have some other sizes available at similar price points that you can look at down here. You know, this is a great way to get into starting to use filters like the circular polarizer and ND8 to expand your photography. And then of course, you know, filter wrenches to help you get the filters on and off your lens, because those can be stuck on there pretty good, and this just makes it 10 times easier. And then the filter ring set that I recommended before is no longer available, so I've updated my page to include this one. You know, this is great for adapting filters to other lenses. I use these time to time. You know, I try to buy the filters when they're on sale so I can have the exact fit to all of my lenses, but sometimes I do need to adapt filters to different lenses, and there's no other way to do it, or cheap way to do it, than this. Particularly my high-end expensive filters, you know, I buy one size, but I want to use it on a different lens, then I can use a step ring. Okay, so I did see a question here about the magnetic. Magnetic rings. Do they sell extra magnetic rings for switching between? That's a good question. Uh, I don't know off the top of my head. They do. Freewell has them for $10. But the K&F, yeah, they do sell them. K&F has them for 20. I bet the Freewell ones work, but if you want to be 100% sure, you can just buy, you know, buy one of these. So they have them in the different filter thread sizes. Obviously, you're going to buy the same size twice, right? Because the filters won't fit on a different size magnetic ring. And just to note, the magnetic ring does not have any threads in it. So you're not going to be able to put a step ring on the magnetic ring, just so you know. You can do it the other way around. You can put the step ring behind the magnetic ring, but you can't put it on top. So just think about the workflow there. If that's gonna be okay. If you use a step ring on the back of this, you can use your magnetic ring set on different lenses that way, right? But it's not going to go on the front, obviously, or maybe not so obvious. So that's why I'm pointing it out. There's no ring or threads in the front of the step ring. You'd have to adapt filter rings, step rings to the back of it. Good question. I didn't know they sold them. $20 though. And thin filters fracture in 1,000 pieces. Yep. Are they interchangeable between brands? That I'm not 100% sure. I don't see why not, but I can't tell you firsthand. And you have a couple of the 72s. Okay. All right, so let me go to an MFS says, one more question before I go back to the thing. You probably been asked this before, but have you ever looked for any deals on Temu? No, because here in the US, we started imposing tariffs on Chinese products. So it's been, I just stopped. I did have the Temu app and everything on my phone, and I used to scan back in the day for that, and there were some great deals there. I bought a I bought one of my Godox triggers for like 20 or $30 less than I could buy it on Amazon through, I believe it was Temu. It was either Temu or Alibaba. And I've bought a couple other things like that before all these tariffs kicked in. But since the tariffs kicked in, every time I go back and look, and I looked, I haven't looked recently, but every time I went back to look, it was like, the price would be great. It might be, 20, 30% less than the Amazon price, but then there would be like this $100 shipping fee, right? I'm like, oh, okay. So then it brings the price to more than what I could buy it on Amazon for. So, short answer is I have in the past, but since the tariffs here in the US kicked in, I have not. A new rule, don't drop any camera. That's right. Okay. Now, I did talk about this before. Go back into my thing here. So these are the memory card deals I found. Okay, let me make this a little smaller. Now there's two classes of cards here, V60 and V30. If you do a lot of sports action photography and you're running into buffer issues, on a regular basis, you definitely want to get a V60 card for your camera to maximize that performance. I mean, it's 3-4 times faster buffer clearing with a V60 card versus a V30. So for example, if I use a V30 card, my OM1 Mark I has a 94 frame buffer. It takes 45 to 50 seconds to clear the buffer on a V30 card. On a V90 card, it takes like 15 to 20 seconds. So less than half the time to clear the buffer on a V60 card. So if you take a typical 15-second clear versus a 45-second clear, we're talking 3 times faster to clear the buffer. So those are the two classes. Now, if you don't hit the buffer a lot, you're just street photography, portraits, landscape, then you don't care about V60, right? Because you're not running into buffers that often. If you shoot, I think even if you do focus stacking and bracketing, you don't have to worry about the buffering so much. But for just about everything else, landscape, portrait, V30 is fine. So that's why I recommend these two. Now, it used to be cheap enough that I would just get the V60 all day long, but that's not the case anymore. So case in point, this Digiera, I ordered a couple myself of the V60s, but here's two V30 cards, 128 gig. You know, if you have a dual card slot camera, you can get a match set. If you have one camera, you know, uh, it doesn't hurt to have an extra backup memory card for single slot cameras. And for dual slot cameras, it makes a lot of sense to have a match set. So here's one from Digiera. Here's a set from PNY. You know, this is a brand name, higher quality memory card. So you're going to pay quite a bit more if you want, you know, one of the very best, right? But if you're on a budget, I've been using generic memory cards for years now and not had any issues. And this is a brand that's been on Amazon a long time, gets 4 stars or higher ratings. So this is a very good generic card. And once these are out of stock, you know, because you're paying what, $21.50 for each one. That's a good deal. You're getting two for $43. And then the PNYs, you're getting two brand name. I mean, these are still third party technically, but these are on the high end. I've used PNY cards for years and they've been awesome. $35 each, so they're quite a bit more, but some people just don't want to take a chance on a super generic card like Digiera. So you can get a PNY with a very high level of confidence that's going to be very, very reliable. Same thing with Kingston, excellent brand. This is a V90 card. There are some situations where you want a V90 for very high spec video, like my Panasonic L10 that's coming in does have one video mode that requires a V90. The Sony a6700 has a video mode that requires V90. Other cameras that have very high spec, you know, GH7. But there's other cameras like, for example, some of the Sonys that have very high specs that use CF Express cards. And this doesn't come into play. But for any cameras that use SD cards that have high video specs, sometimes you have to get a V90. So that's why I put this here, and this is a good deal. This is about what I paid for mine years ago. But I guarantee once this is out of stock, this price is going to go up to probably 200 bucks. I mean, for a V90 128 gig card, this is going to be a $200 card when they run out of stock on this. This is a V60 card. And I bought two of them this morning for the reasons I said earlier in the video. But I really think that once this is out of stock, that's it. We're not going to be able to get this price ever again for V60 128 gig card. Because if I go to, let's see, here's a V90. You know, this is the going rate. This is a good deal for V90 set. But this is kind of the going rate. They don't even have a 256 V60 card. So that's why, let me see, let me come back. This one. This is an amazing deal right now. You used to be able to buy these for about, you know, 30 bucks all day long for PNY, right? For a decent brand. But you can't touch these anymore, because if I put in a 128 gig V60 SD card, you know, here's one for 100 bucks, double the price. A Lexar set is not even available really. 130 bucks for a micro SD version. OWC is 80 bucks. Don't buy this brand. this one here, I went through all the reviews and it's a 3.4. I don't have a lot of confidence in this brand. Gosh, my browser just froze up here. Hopefully I'm still live. Oh. Let me know if I'm still live right now, because everything just froze up here on my screen. So Heather said you bought the DigiAir last week through the link. Haven't used them yet. Okay, cool. Yeah, I should get mine in by Friday because I put it on the, you know, because I wanted to get 6% back instead of 5%. So I'll get mine in on Friday, I think. And then when I'll come in, I'll test them out and use them in my OM3 and OM1s and see how they perform with buffering and reliability over time. The one card that, I know you bought these, like on my OM3, like this thing now is well over $100 now, but back in March, this is a V60 256. This was like $37. Now the best deal I can find for half this is a $50 card. It's crazy. So I bought a couple more today. All right, thank you for letting me know I'm still live because my browser froze and I couldn't see what was going on. Okay, so yeah, 130 bucks for a pro grade. Yeah, don't buy this brand here. In them, there's just too many negative reviews of what specifically bothered me about this particular brand, or the negative reviews, is that they said that it was not a true V60 even though it was labeled V60. And the way you can tell typically is when you look at the back of the card, you'll see a double. They're not even showing it here. Let me see. Yeah, this is a V60 card, but it says definitely not UHS2, and I saw multiple comments about this not being a UHS2 card. So I would, and a lot of the reviews are, just don't apply to this exact card. So yeah, frequently returned item also. That's also that's not always a bad thing, because I like to see what the problems are if it's a frequently returned item. But yeah, don't buy this. But I have some other deals here. Now this one here is sold a lot. This is a V30 card, 256 gig for 30 bucks. This is closer to pricing back in March, but I can tell you, once these are gone, you're not gonna, because even though, well, 256, these are pairs. So you can get a match set for the same price, but they're 128s. This looks like a good deal. 500 4.4 star reviews. And it's for the card that, the reviews are for this card. They're not mixed up like on the other product that we looked at, the other SD card. So if you really on a budget, this is not a brand I've ever tried, but I have a pretty good confidence in this, that if I wanted to buy a V30 card, I would have a pretty good confidence in this one at this price. But yeah, ProMaster has a decent V30 card for $34, and SanDisk has their brand. Oh, it's gone up. It's gone up since I put it onto my page here. But I like this ProMaster V30, and then here's a PNY. So my gut feeling is once this ProMaster V30 card is out of stock, and this is a good brand, we're not going to get this price anymore. Because look at the 64 gig card. The 64 gig card is the same price. The 128 gig card is more expensive. So this is definitely a little bit older stock. But once these are gone, it says one left, okay? Take that with a grain of salt. But once this is out of stock, you're not going to be able to get a 256 gig card from ProMaster for $34 anymore. This is going to go to probably $100. I guarantee. This, not 100, but it's going to go up in price substantially. So if you're looking for a good V30 256 gig card, this is a really good deal. All right. So we've kind of talked about bags today already, so I'll skip that. I did run across a decent tripod deal. $30.59. This has a nice metal ball head. I believe the handle can be removed if you want to make it even more compact. You know, it just unscrews out. If it doesn't screw out, then that's fine too. But typically you can unscrew those. But you're not gonna find a better tripod for 30 bucks. Okay, this is a really good deal. Same thing here. This is basically the same tripod, but it's $29. But it's a little bit taller, I think. The newer one is 77 inches. This one is taller. This one's a little bit shorter, so it's like $1 less, right? But this is also a very, very good tripod for $29 and converts to monopod. Now I have this one here. It's $10 more, but I believe, and it's not as tall. It's 68 inch. That's more than enough. But and then there's a 10% coupon here potentially. Always look out for these. You know, click the redeem button. So this would be a $36 tripod if I get the 10% off. I like these because they compact down. They're just much easier to carry along. I don't care for the ones that invert, but if you're on a very tight budget, you know, you can save $10 and get that one, or you can just get this one. I would prefer this one, and it has the same metal ball head as the others that we looked at. This one's branded Canva Photo. Looks like a nice tripod for $36. And these two Panasonic lenses are a really good deal right now. 25mm 1.7 and the 40 to 150. I'm sorry, 45 to 150 for $148. These are stellar kit lenses. Well, this is more of a kit lens, but this is a stellar prime lens, especially if you have a Panasonic camera. Now, there's been reports on OM system cameras that this back focuses a little bit, so I'm not going to recommend this if you have an OM system or Olympus camera. I have never had any problem with it personally on any of my cameras, but I just thought I'd share that caveat with you. And the 45 to 150 is an excellent lens on both Panasonic and Olympus. I haven't heard any issues, but I would prefer if you buy the lens that matches the same brand camera, because if you mix these on different brands, you may lose some functionality, particularly like the Panasonics. Let me see. Panasonics typically have optical image stabilization, right? This is not going to sync with an OM system camera, but if you put this on a Panasonic camera, this should sync with the Panasonic internal, IBIS image stabilization. So you definitely want to buy this lens for your Panasonic and buy this one for your OM system. And then here's some more OM system lenses on sale. The 45 is kind of a no-brainer, and so is the 75 to 300. This is a particularly good deal at $279. This is also a very good deal. Now that prices have gone up in general, I don't know if we're going to see this for less than $499 for a while, But I think even at this price point, it's still an excellent deal. It's a very sharp lens. The only caveat, you have to use it in decent light because it slows down to 6.7 on the long end. And then there's some other lenses down here if you're in different camera systems that I think are excellent deals for Fuji and Sony, and also Panasonic Lumix L-mount. These are all excellent lenses. And then of course the camera bodies down here I've talked about many times. The OM3 is awesome. The OM5 Mark II is on sale. Another awesome camera. However, if you can, I would stretch and get the OM3 all day long over an OM5 Mark II. And some other deals down here. So we'll end it here as far as what I had to show you. And if you have any other questions, I'll try and address them. Our MFS is asking, is there any benefit for having a V90 card on your... No, zero benefit on the OM3. Because the OM3 doesn't have any video specs that are high enough to require a V90. And when you put a V90 in, the buffering speed is exactly the same. If I have a V90 card or a V60 card, it clears the buffer in 15 or 17 seconds regardless if I use a V60 or V90. So in camera, there's no difference between a V60 and a V90 card, especially on any OM system camera. I'll just go across the board, OM system, Olympus, no difference. On Panasonic, the only time it makes a difference is like GH7. These very high-spec video cameras might require for certain video codecs to use a V90. Now, if you have an OM3, the only time the V90 card makes a difference is when you take the card out of your camera and put it into your computer. A V90 card will read slightly faster onto your computer than a V60. So if you're offloading the images, you'll get a little better performance from a V90 card. Now that difference can be even more, can be bigger. There can be a bigger difference in speed when you're offloading larger files, like long video files. A V90 card will be substantially faster than a V60 when offloading from your SD card onto your computer directly. But that's not usually the case for most of us, right? If you're a videographer, you're probably using CF Express or V90 cards. You know what you need for those specs. But for photography, I don't see any benefit. Even if you have a lot of short clips of video, you're not going to see much difference between V90 and V60 when offloading to your PC. You have to be really careful with Amazon. Yeah, definitely. You have to be careful. And Paul says, would back to PMY brand have 256 V60s in my OM1 and OM1 and they are excellent. 10 seconds to clear the buffer on the OM1. Only 2 seconds slower than a V90. Okay, that's awesome. I've never gotten a 10-second clear myself. And I'm using PNYs in my OM1. That's interesting. I wonder what we're doing differently. But this is the one I use. PMY V60. And I recommended these back in the day when these were on sale for like $35. So I bought a couple, more than a couple. But they have been awesome. Okay. Got the same cards, have been working very well. Yep. And Paul says, Jeff, and over 11,000 RAWs to fill it. Only got close once in my US trip. 8,500 shots. Yeah, I've filled a 256 gig card, definitely. Awesome. Going shopping, appreciate it. So as I mentioned earlier, all of these deals, if you buy them through my affiliate links, I potentially could earn a commission. If you have any ad blockers and things like that on your PC, if you could turn those off while you're purchasing, because a lot of times that nullifies the cookies and things that I have that tracks the commissions. But oh, that's interesting. Paul says there's a couple of settings you need to make to get the fastest clearing time. I'm curious what they are. So I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean, I think about if you can turn off, there's a couple of settings I could turn off. Certainly noise reduction, not noise reduction, but there's one of the vignetting ones. I forget what it's called exactly. I do have that turned off. Shade, I think it's called shade correction. And then I use natural color profile, so I don't do anything special there. I'll have to, I don't know, let me know what settings you changed. You might be using some that I didn't think of. I thought I hit all the ones that need to be hit, you know, that comes to processing the image before it gets written. Even when you shoot raw only, it still creates a JPEG for the raw image, and it's embedded. And if you can minimize processing of the JPEG before it gets embedded into the raw, you will get faster buffering times. And I thought I accounted for all that. Oh, stabilization and the other one. Okay, yeah, just email those to me. I'm curious what you're using. I can't imagine why stabilization would have an effect. But that's interesting. I'll have to test for that. That's interesting. Because a 10-second buffer is better than 15, right? Okay. Looks like that's it on the questions. So let me just check B&H real quick. I thought I saw a deal there. No, nothing really special there today. I mean, I have a B&H link down below. If any of these items interest you, I don't see many of us needing any of this stuff. You know, fluid head video, tripod, good deal, but you know, LED lighting. This is the GVM Pro SD. Okay, that's not a bad light. I have this one. Oh, a projector, 1500 lumen. That's pretty good. But like I said, these are kind of oddball items, right?
What items are you referring to?
Alexa, stop. I hate it when it comes on like that, just out of nowhere. So, one deal I did find on B&H, if you've been thinking about a Nikon camera, the Nikon Z6 III, they have a really good deal in here. This one. It's one of these. Hold on. I was just looking at it yesterday. Oh, no, no, no. Wait. Sorry if this scrolling is hard to look at. Yeah, this is a really good deal. But Adorama has a better deal. I'm not an affiliate for Adorama, but Adorama. Nikon Z6. Come on. Z6 III. This. Okay, I'm not an affiliate for them, but they're giving you a 128 gig V60 card. So we know that's a $100 value right there. You know, a little messenger bag and a spare battery and a microfiber, right? For the same price as everyone else. But you're getting at least 150 bucks worth of stuff on top. And I mean true $150 value on top of everything else. And the camera itself is $700 off. So if you've been thinking about a Nikon Z6 III, this is the best deal online that I could find. So I don't know if you guys are interested in or have been thinking about a Nikon Z6 III, you will not find a better deal than this anywhere. If you buy it through eBay, I could probably find my eBay link. let me go to eBay because the Adorama sells on eBay. I can kind of get a commission around the corner, you know, through the back door that way. Adorama Nikon Z6 III. So maybe they don't sell on Amazon anymore. Let me see. Adorama. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to waste time with that. But yeah, if you want a Z6 III, it's a good deal on Adorama. So, oh, set the frame per second priority. Yep, I do that too, I believe. I do that too. But okay. We'll call it here. So thanks everyone for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Do that every day and you have a good life, right? So eat healthy and exercise. I'll be back on my, should be back Friday for my photo editing stream. And I had a bunch of appointments yesterday. Everything went really well. With my mom, everything is going great. She's recovering well. So thanks for all of you that have been asking about that. I appreciate it. But again, thanks for joining me today, and I hope to see you guys all again soon.